So with all that happened last year, the Steelers versus the Raiders going into that game, we had to pull off a bunch of wins in a row to actually stay relevant, to actually stay within it, to actually maybe even make the playoffs. And that was kind of the start of the Steelers turning it around. Franco was getting his jersey retired, passed away. What was it, like 3 days before his jersey getting retired, and we just go on a tear. We win like 3 games in a row and just end up missing the playoffs the last year, replacing the Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. So this is like shit that Mike Tomlin doesn't get credit for. I mean, he comes up in primetime games all the time. I mean, you could say what you want, but he brought Pittsburgh Steelers football Monday night. You can't get it any better than that. I mean, that is as good as game is going to get. And you won that game defensively. You can still win games defensively in the NFL. We proved it on Monday night. And we got to get the offense going. We got to get the run game going in honor of Franco Harris. And it's got to start with the Raiders. They got to stay committed, and they got to learn to run the ball. And I think this team's going to stay committed, and they're going to stay together under Mike Tomlin and everything that happened. And we're right there in it at the end. And they know it's a long season. They know it's a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. They're not going to say die. We're 1-1 right now. And in 3 games, we got the Ravens, we got the Raiders, we got Houston, and then we got the Ravens. So we could be first in the division. We win some games here. We can be on a 3-game winning streak going up against Baltimore. Have all the momentum at home against the division rival and get a big upset victory. I mean, they got a great offense. They can spread you out. They can run it. They can do a lot of different things. They're going to be hard to stop. We've been having trouble stopping the run, and the Ravens can really run it even without J.K. Dobbins. They still got Lamar, who can run it any given moment, and they got Gus Edwards, and they got probably people behind him too. So the Ravens can run the ball. I don't know so much about their defense. I mean, they've been giving up a few points. They gave up some points to Cincinnati, but their offense is pretty good. They can do a lot of different things offensively, but it's got to start with the Raiders. It's got to start against their defense. We're not facing the defense like we faced the first 2 games. The Raiders' defense is one of the worst in the league so far. They wasn't able to run the ball last game, so without them being able to run the ball, Jimmy G is not good against the blitz. I think this is just a bad recipe for the Raiders, and we should be favored by a lot. Last I looked, we're only favored by a point. I mean, we're going into their stadium, so we'll see. But I think we have to get at least something going on offense. We'll at least be able to pick up some first downs against this Raider defense opposed to Cleveland and the 49ers, who got great front fours, front sevens, definitely. Cleveland got a great front four. 49ers got a great front seven, great linebackers, great defensive linemen. Cleveland's linebackers are pretty good, and they got a good secondary. So, I mean, you're playing 2 of the best defenses in the league. So now it's time to show something on offense, give the defense a little bit of a break. And I think it's a good matchup for our defense, definitely. We just got to contain Jacobs. You can't act like he can't run the ball. He led the league in rushing last year, so you got to contain him and force some turnovers and just sag Jimmy G, which I think he'll be a sitting duck. They got a pretty good offensive line. He's the only quarterback that hasn't been sacked this year, but I think that's going to change come Sunday night. Tomlin's going to show up, prime time, do what he does, show why he's one of the best teams in the league, and show why you can never count out the Pittsburgh Steelers. So here we go.